Well, we certainly appreciate our colleagues today understanding the importance of what's contained in Senate Bill 529 and the respect for life, the respect for women, and respect for doing what's right in the right way. And I think the vote today showed, despite I think over 2.5 hours of debate, um, that we are on the right track here. And as I think was eloquently stated by the President Pro Tem, the difference between us and third world countries. And I think it comes down to more than just geography or climate or even the economy or education that separates us from them. But more importantly, it comes down to the rule of law, the respect of property and people, and more importantly, the respect for life. And I think that we send a message today that despite advances in technology that allow certain things that are common in other places to be spread worldwide, we have a respect for those things I just mentioned. And I think the vote and the bill described that as the wishes of our body today. So I was proud of our colleagues, certainly a long debate, and respect all those that spoke on either side of the issue. It is something that brings out emotions and deep-held concerns and beliefs. But I think that we did good work here today on behalf of the people of Georgia. So, Mr. Leader, Renee.
Thank you. It was my honor to be able to bring up the argument in the debate about coercion of women. In particular, I have worked for the past 3 years on human trafficking and the sexual exploitation of minors. And I'm in particular concerned about coercion of women. Women who are taken to abortion clinics and forced by their pimps or gang members to be able to have an abortion. And I think that issue was brought up. The issue of human trafficking was interwoven into the debate of abortion and how the two issues fit together. We are doing a good job in the state of Georgia. We're one of the first in the nation to come up with human trafficking laws and the sexual exploitation of minors. And we are also one of the strongest pro-life states in the nation. And I think it's very valuable to show the importance we place on newborn babies, children, and young girls and young boys who are 10, 11, and 12 years old that are sexually exploited.
Take questions.
Take questions?
Basically, it makes it a crime to participate in abortion through coercion or based upon the race or gender of the baby. That's in a nutshell what the bill does. It has some other provisions in there, the definition of the coercion that would be involved in some other type of a code section, whether it's state, local, or federal, or a tort. But that's basically the basic underlying objective of this bill, is to make it a crime under those circumstances. Yeah, the testimony in committees in the House and in the Senate, and information we've got that as many as 64% of all abortions are coerced in some manner, and that can range from just a very subtle coercion like, well, maybe we can't afford this baby or we don't want to do this, all the way up to threats. If you don't do this, then I will cause harm to you in some way, or blackmail you, or take from you funds or something else. Literally, we had reams of documentation and testimony from folks all over, but unfortunately quite a few from Georgia, that was a situation. Secondly, as it deals with race and or gender, as we pointed out early in the presentation in Economist magazine of what's happening around the world, and we know now some of those cultures are present here. It's a scary fact that when you get to the second or third child and you do not have a boy, that abortion is now used as a selection of gender for that next subsequent child. And the numbers based on the 2000 census bear that out very clearly. And unfortunately, I'm sure when this next census is completed, that the numbers are going to be even stronger, indicating that this is a real issue, a real problem here in Georgia, as well as other places, and we needed to take a stand against it. I'm going to let Senator Underman speak to that one.
I write the budget for the Department of Human Services, and I also work on the subcommittee for the Department of Community Health. And the state of Georgia is addressing that issue. We have been working for a year and a half now on a Medicaid medical waiver, and we are working through CMS, the Center for Medical Services, which is based in Baltimore, Maryland, to be able to get a waiver on family planning. And I have worked diligently for a year and a half on that. We recognize that there is some disparity. We don't dispute the statistics, but that is also why we reorganized the Department of Human Resources last year. We had an omnibus bill that was over 200 pages, 10,000 lines, that created a new Department of Public Health. And that is one of the initiatives of family planning in that department, to strengthen that department and to make it better and better serve our growing population. Not only are we growing with young people, but we're growing diversely, and to take care of those populations.
Let me say one quick thing. Let me just comment real briefly on the real basics of the bill. You have coercion. Now, some have suggested that they are pro-choice. Well, if you have coercion, there is no choice. So anyone who stands in favor of allowing people to abort children based on coercion cannot call themselves pro-choice. So clearly coercion should be outlawed. And then the second issue is, do you abort and end the life of a child based on that child's gender or race? That is barbaric to suggest that ending a child's life based on gender or race is an acceptable thing to do. That should not happen in any civilized society, and we've made a very bold statement here today. Those senators who actually stayed on the floor and voted on this said in an overwhelming fashion that this should never happen in Georgia. You should never take the life of a child based solely on the race or gender of that child. By definition, when you do that, you have suggested that some race is superior to another, or some gender is superior to another. We reject those notions wholeheartedly. Every child ought to have the chance at life, and when you take a child's life for the purpose of race or gender, there should be some repercussion to that, and that's what this bill said today.
Well, I think I could speak about that. I represent a county. I represent northern Gwinnett County, and I have one of the highest Asian and Korean populations in the state of Georgia. And I think one of the stipulation that we're talking about is when that diversity immigrates to the United States, they bring their culture with them. And it's a known fact that in certain Asian cultures that boys are preferred over girls, unfortunately, because we know they're both equal. And the fact that they do it based upon population that they cannot tolerate, even in Italy, where you have a certain number of kids that can be in per family. So that's what we're concerned about is not only the immigration of people, but the culture that they bring with them, and wanting to make sure that people are equally protected, whether you're young or old, that you're equally protected.